Hi, I'm Richard from the Mr. A Builders channel. I'm here working with a professional builder today to review this Festool TS 60K. I've got a few jobs that I want to do with this today, which is cutting a piece of oak to form a floating shelf. I've got 3 pieces of OSB that I want to use to finish the floor with, and we've also got to cut a fire door down to finish the loft upstairs, which is now complete other than the fire door and the ironmongery. Moving forward, on the Professional Builder channel, they'll be doing regular product reviews, how-to videos, and other items covering things that will make us safer and more efficient on site. So to make sure you don't miss any of these future videos, don't you hit the subscribe button, go ahead at notification bell as well, and if you like this video and future videos, don't forget the like button. Right, let's open the box then and have a look at the tool. Okay, so first of all then, just move this out of the way. What I can say is that this tool is exactly the same size and weight as the TS55 that I've already got. And if you're not aware of Festool, all the green parts on the Festool, they all perform a function, if you like. So that's always good to know, that if you don't quite know what you've got to touch or where it goes, then generally one of the green parts does. So this is the tool as it stands. You've got your depth gauge here on the front to run your blade up and down. That's all the way down to 60 now. Obviously that's to 0. And then you've got a fine adjustment on there, a micro adjustment on here as well. But strangely, that's black, it's not green. So it's there. And what that allows you to do is, if for argument's sake you're doing like what I'm doing now and using a table, it means you can make sure that when you're cutting something that you don't dig into your table, which is really good. You've got the anti-kick stop on and off there, which has now been introduced onto this model as well, the TS60. I believe the other one it was introduced on first was the TSC 55, but I'll stand corrected if that's not the case. If it's not the case, we'll should go through that later on the video, but I believe that is the first model it was introduced on. And all that does is, when you're using this saw, if you were using it to plunge cut, like I do for sinks, cutting sinks out of worktops or hobs out of worktops, for example, what this technology now does, it recognises that the blade has sort of caught, or it's gone into some kind of tension within the wood, and it stops the saw from sort of jumping out at you, therefore causing damage to the material or even your Festool rail. And with the price of materials and things like rails and things now, the last thing you need is have to replace them, isn't it? So that's good technology to have. So on the back here, you've got a button that deactivates the body of the saw, which allows you to drop it. If I just turn this in so I can drop the blade down there. You activate this button here to allow for the plunge to activate, and you pull this up like that, let go of the saw, and what it does, it locks the blade in place now. And remember, when you're doing this, you've got to take batteries off and disconnect all power sockets or power leads, which I've done. And what you've got then is, you can see there, you've actually got your Allen key then to take your blade out, and you can set this on its side like that and take your blade out, and that's how quick it is. It's that easy. We haven't got to hold it with a spanner, nothing. It's all locked off just by the flick of that switch there. Fantastic feature, really great feature for me, that one, because messing around having spanners and things, and you always lose the spanners, I know I do. That's fantastic, that's a great feature for me. Right then, last couple then. These two here, what you do when you first take it out of the box, or if you decide to use another rail, why you do that I don't know, but if you decide doing another rail for another manufacturer, all you do with these is you drop it onto your rail, and I can show you once we get the rail out later on. You turn these to make sure you clamp it and seat it correctly in your rail so it doesn't move, so it obviously provides the precision that this tool has got, and again we'll go into that later. This one here, if I just hold this up, that one there, when you push this in like that, what it does is it allows this, let me just take this off first, sorry. What this does, once you've done your buttons, it allows the saw to go over 1 degree, so you can go -1 degree, and you can also go 47 degrees over to the right hand side, which is another great feature. And again, these aren't green, but these are a function. Not everything's green, but these are the ones that allow the body to move from -1 to 47 degrees. And that's pretty much it for the functions on here. So what we can go into now is we can, oh, I'll just stop there a second. I talked about this kickstop, but I don't think I mentioned about the fact that you can actually turn this off. Now, I don't know why you turn it off, but when I looked into this more before doing this video, they recommend that if it may be something like if you use it without the rail, you might want to turn it off. But what they've said is once it's turned off, you press the button once, it goes off. When you activate the saw again after, when you're finished, it'll automatically put it back on. So you haven't got to touch anything or mess with anything, it automatically comes back on. You haven't got to think about redoing it after, which is a great feature. And also, while we're on that, if it does activate the kick stop when you're punch cutting, the good thing for me also is the fact that it doesn't damage the machine. And it automatically, within seconds, you can use the saw again. Because that would be a worry for me, that this great feature, if it's going to completely smash your motor, I think I'd be worried about that personally, because of the cost of the machine. But it doesn't. It just turns itself off again and allows you to carry on with your day and do your cutting again. And the feature kicks back on, which is a great feature for me. Right then, let's move on to some cutting, shall we? Okay, so moving on to our first job then. What we've got is, we've got these 3 offcuts that we've been using to do the floor. And if you want to head over to our channel and see Adam smashing his own house up basically, we were here last Friday and we did the flooring. And these are the last 3 cuts, which you can't see behind you because it's covered in all manner of building materials now. And we just want to finish the floor off. So rather than waste material, what I've done is I've already cut these to square. I've screwed 3 of them together. And what this allows me to do is, because they're all the same width, it makes it a bit more efficient for me to cut them all to the same width. And with the new feature on this, which is the 60mm depth of cut, it means I can cut these all together. So I'm going to do in 1 cut instead of 3. And what that also means is that'll be exactly the same width. That's what it ultimately means for me, which is great. There's no room for error if I'm using my tape measure. So what I'm going to do now, I'll clamp this on the table. I'll set up the dust extraction and we'll do our first cut. Went very black country there, didn't I? We'll do our first cut. Right, with the power of this machine, which is up to 6,800 revs per minute, you can't even feel that go through there. This additional depth you've got now makes you a lot more efficient, and cutting through 3 pieces of OSB, 18mm OSB, is so easy. So if I take these clamps off for you now, and I can show you the cut. You can see there now I've got 3 pieces, exactly the same. And then if you can see it in this light, how perfect that cut is. It's absolutely perfect. So my next job then is, this fire door is for upstairs in the loft. Again, if you've seen the channel, you see how far on it is with that. And this is one of the final jobs now to finish. However, we're a bit tight on with the floor covering. So I've only got to take 5mm off it. So I'll take this off the bottom first. If I just get myself marked up first. Okay, now clamp my rail on. And the good thing about this is once you've cut your splinter guard off, your splinter guard just references straight onto your lines, and that's exactly where you'll cut. Now you don't necessarily need clamps on them because these rails are designed with sort of a foamy rubber on the bottom to stop the friction. It stops you moving the rail, but it's just a little bit safer when you work on a bench, especially something so heavy. Again, just check my lines. Okay, right then. Right, so just want to quickly show you something. again, it's coming down to the quality of Festool products, and in this instance, it's the splinter guard that's on the rail. Now, what the splinter guard does is when the saw's moving along the rail, it protects the edge of the finish of whatever it is you're cutting. Now, we're going to try and do a demonstration later on where I've got a couple of cupboard side panels, kitchen side panels, and we're going to show how good the finish is when you're cutting upwards, because the saw runs upwards. You can imagine without it, it smashes up any face. This would be cut to pieces if it was just run through a normal saw now without a rail. And this is just the quality of this splinter guard here, on here. So if you want to come and have a quick look at this, you can see that finish now on there, how good it is, and you can see all the face is perfectly intact there. However, if you can see it on the camera there, all that there, that finish, that's what it would look like if it wasn't on there. And may even start to sort of break it off. But we'll try and do a bit of a demonstration for you and show you a little bit better in a moment on some kitchen panels for you. Right, we're now going to go through, as I've mentioned, a quick demonstration, and it's just showing you the quality of the splinter guard on here. Now, this is just a demonstration, so forgive the state of it. We've just stripped out a kitchen on the other job we're on, and I just wanted to show you how good it is. So before I do that, what I want to mention is, and it's a bit of a safety tip really, when you're cutting different thicknesses of material, now I've left it at full depth so far so you can see the depth of the blade, but what you have got on here, if I just get this round here like that, I've mentioned the depth adjustment. Now what you've got on here, you've actually got two markings on here. If I get my pencil, so my fat finger's not in the way, you've got a marking there on the green part, and you've got a marking there. Now the top one, you can see it says FS on it, which relates to your rail. And that means that where you put that marking on this here, that's how deep your blade will come out when it's on the rail. If you put it on that marking there, that's how deep it will come out when it's not on the rail, because you can use this on and off the rail, remember. That's what's that for. So I've got 18 mil, so I shall set this to about 22, 23 mil. So there's minimum blade showing at the bottom, because what you don't want is all your blade sticking out, and it's a bit of a safety risk really. Minimal blade, so if anything happens, there's not all of your blade. Oh, excuse me. You haven't got all of your blades sticking out the bottom. So I'll adjust this, I'll put my PP back on, and we'll show you this cut, and then hopefully show you the quality of the finish. Right, I think before I show you the actual cut with the splinter guard on, I just wanted to point this out. Now, this isn't set up in any way, shape or form. However, I've just noticed the fact that this comes down to, again, the quality of Festool and their blades. This is with no splinter guard. This is actually, if you can imagine, this was here. It was on the outside of the blade, so any uppercut would have damaged the board. Now, that edge is with no splinter guard on. And this edge would have been cut at some point by other people. I don't know who did the kitchen in that house. That's what does happen if you cut this stuff without a splinter guard on or a rubbish blade, and you can see how good it is. Right, so the next job we're going to do is actually a job for me personally. Now, I've got this bit of oak left, and what I want to do is use this to put a bit of a shelf in a recess of a chimney breast. However, I want it to be a bit thicker. So what I thought was, if I cut this at 45 degrees, I can then turn it and then make quite a chunky looking shelf. So this machine does claim that it cuts 40 mil thickness of material at 45 degrees, and it will cut straight through it. Now, I have got a table saw that can do this, but because it claims it, I thought we'd give it a go. So I'll get my PPE on and we'll do exactly that. As you can see, at 60 mil full depth, it has cut through this material. Now, this is a piece of oak. So if I just sort of show you there, if you can capture that. Let me get in the camera shot there. That is 40 mil material. Okay, in fact, I think it's more like 41. You can see it on the camera. So that's cut all the way through, full depth, and it's mitered it, no problem at all. Now, if you can look on this, the cleanliness of that cut is unbelievable. And I didn't feel any strain at all on the machine when I was cutting that. And so this is a piece of oak. The only thing I will say is that you've got to be careful of when you're cutting with any plunge saw, including this one, when you're at 45 degrees, you've got to make sure you put plenty force. You have to put plenty force on here, because what happens is when you tilt it over, the saw can tilt. Excuse me. So just make sure that you put plenty force on there and then run your saw through like that. Just wanted to point that out for you. So as I said, the quality of this cut is unbelievable. And if I just, I'll tell you what I could do, if I put these together in the light and show you if I can. Now, of course, this would be fixed and glued and what have you and sanded up, but just straight off there, if you can sort of see, if I stand that up there like that so you can see how good that cut really is. That'll be glued, sanded, and that'll be my oak chunky shelf. I'm really happy with that. It claimed it, and it's correct. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, we've decided that we think might be a good thing to show you is the effectiveness of this dust extraction and how important it is to use it. So what we've done is, I've just got another 3 pieces of OSB. We've just cut them off camera, screwed them together again. So I've got a full thickness cut of 3 pieces. What we're going to do now first, we're going to go through and show you what it's like with extraction. You've already seen that footage, but we thought we'd show you again with extraction. Then we're going to take the hose out of the dust extractor and show you what happens when you don't connect it. So I'll get my PPE on and we'll go through that now. As you can see there's a lot of dust all over the floor, a lot of dust all over the track, making quite the mess. And of course it's all in the air now as well, so you're potentially breathing it in. And now you need to remember that without dust extraction, you're increasing the risk of things like asthma and ultimately something as bad as lung cancer. So it's very important to use dust extraction. That's why it doesn't matter what it costs, you will need to use it. And if you do nothing else, make sure you put a mask on as well. Okay, so we're at the end of our demonstration now, or review. But what I want to talk about first, and something I've forgot to mention, is the fact that if you're aware of the Festool FSK saw, this is now compatible with the FSK rail. And there's 3 different FSK rails you can get, 250, 420 and 670. Now the 670, it's considered to be a cross-cut rail. So if you got, for argument's sake, chipboard flooring, 600mm wide, that's what you'd use it for. But what I will say is, and I'll try and show you, because I haven't got one here, but what the FSK rail has got on it, it's got loads of indentations down the side, and it means you can lock it on a certain indentation, which is a certain angle, up to 60 degrees, I believe it is, and you can sit it on your workpiece, set your angle, set your rail on, and it locates on 2 pins on the back of the rail. You can push it into place, and that's it, without having to do any other additional measuring or a different additional angle finders, for example. So that's really good. The fact that you can now use this for your standard track saw, plunge saw cutting, now compatible with FSK rail as well, which is superb, which means you can only have, if you only got what saw on the job, you can do both. It is certainly a great addition to your circular saw arsenal, shall we say, and well worth looking at once you've finished watching this review. Okay then, well, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for future videos. So just to summarise then, a few features that I really like, a few points. The introduction of the kickstop, that means a lot to me, for the reason that I haven't got to worry, the extra worry now of the damage that could be caused to the material or the rail if it does kick back, and obviously ultimately safety. It's a safety feature that's now going to stop me getting injured as well, potentially. Dust extraction, I think we've already seen from the video how good, or the footage, how good the dust extraction is. So it means that I'm not going to get covered in dust, I'm not going to take it home, I'm not going to slip on the floor in the dust. And of course it's not going to have any effect on my health or any other problems it may cause with the dust because of that, and that's because it's a good quality dust extraction. The precision of the saw you can guarantee if you set that saw to a certain angle to perform a certain cut, it's going to do it every time. I'm not going to have to do any other procedures like sanding or planing to get to the quality that I want, especially when we're doing kitchens. And you've seen on the demonstration we did how good the quality cut is when you use that. And that takes me on to my last point, is the quality of the accessories you can buy for it. The quality of the rail and the splinter guard, which gives you the cut ultimately, and the quality of the blades. And you can get different variants and blades for different aspects that you need to do, whether it be cutting metal or Korean worktops or whatever you need to do. There's a blade for everything there. So that's the big things for me. So I know they're at all to hand. And there's fences and there's all manner of stuff, multiple accessories for you to get. So it's worth having a look. If you are going to spend your money on one of these saws, have a look at the accessories, because, well, you won't be able to start spending your money because there's so many to buy that will assist you in performing your day-to-day task better, easier, and ultimately safer. That's it then. I've enjoyed the day today reviewing this new tool. Great piece of kit. If you're going to buy one, don't hesitate. Thank you to Professional Builder for getting me in to do this review. Thanks for watching.